Today, we're going to talk about something really interesting, grammar variation in English. You see, the basic idea is that grammar differs across English varieties. Ngữ pháp khác nhau giữa các biến thể tiếng Anh. So, what you might think is a mistake, well, it might not be a mistake at all.
So let me ask you something right off the bat. Have you ever seen the word equipments and immediately thought, nope, that's wrong? I want you to hold that thought, because the real answer is actually way more interesting than a simple grammar rule.
Okay, so this whole thing really gets us to a huge question, right? Is there really just one single correct way to speak English?
You know, most of us were probably taught in school about standard English, which usually means British or American English. But here's the thing. Linguists see it very differently. Standard English is just one dialect out of many. It's not inherently better, and it's definitely not more correct. It just happens to be the version that, for a whole bunch of historical and social reasons, got tied to education and more formal settings. So if there isn't one single correct English, then what is there? Well, the answer is this amazing concept called World Englishes. English didn't just stay put in the British Isles, obviously. Through centuries of things like colonization and migration, it spread all over the planet. And as it took root in new places, think India, Nigeria, Singapore, it changed. People made it their own, they blended it with local languages, and they created brand new, totally stable and rule-governed varieties of English. All right, let's dive into some real-world examples of these differences. And we'll start with something we all use every day, nouns. Remember that word from the beginning, equipments? Well, here it is on a real sign from a train in Malaysia. Now, if you're used to American or British English, your brain might be screaming error, but in Malaysian English and lots of other varieties, it's completely normal. It's just how it's done. So what's going on here? There's actually a linguistic term for it, regularization. What this means is that some varieties regularize uncountable nouns. Một số biến thể làm cho uncountable nouns trở nên đều đặn hơn. They take these so-called uncountable nouns and simply make them countable. It's not a mistake. It's a totally logical adaptation of the language. And equipments isn't a one-off case. You see this pattern all over the world with words like luggages, softwares, and even informations being used as standard plurals. It's really just a way of making the system a bit more consistent. Okay, moving on from nouns. Let's look at another really cool difference, the way people form questions. Think about question tags. In American or British English, they're kind of complicated, aren't they? They change all the time. You're coming, aren't you? He'll be there, won't he? But in lots of other Englishes, invariant question tags may appear. Invariant question tags gothe sutien. Basically, they use one tag that works for almost every situation. And a super common example of this is isn't it? Một ví dụ phổ biến là isn't it? Just look at this chart. You can see how this one simple tag is a stable grammatical feature used across huge parts of the world. But here's the really important part. This isn't just about making things simpler. It serves a social purpose. In a lot of cultures, those constantly changing tags can actually sound a bit too assertive or pushy. A general tag like isn't it just feels softer, more polite, and less confrontational. So let's pull all this together. What's the big takeaway? It's that we really need to shift our thinking away from right versus wrong and start thinking in terms of different. And this is so important because grammatical forms like equipments or the all-purpose isn't it, they aren't mistakes that need to be corrected. They are core features of legitimate rule-governed language systems. They're the natural, expected result of English interacting with other cultures around the world. So the next time you hear a form of English that sounds a little unfamiliar, try to stop yourself from asking, is that correct? Instead, ask a much better question. Where is this from and who uses it? The answer, I promise you, will tell you a much richer story about the incredible diversity of the English language. This video is brought to you by the IELTS Focus Zolo, 84770-5973, an English center specializing in IELTS preparation.